Hello, hello. Welcome to Anime Anonymous. I am CJ,
I'm Ace.
and we are talking about Megalobox today. We were actually just chit-chatting. Ace was like, yo, let's start.
He was giving too much alpha, and I'm like, record.
Yeah, so just first things first, we like this anime. I mean, I might say, like, it might sound that I don't like it because I am kind of critical with different things, but I want to just first say it's a very enjoyable anime, especially when it first came out. It was definitely kind of unique at the time, and I am a sucker for action anime too, but specifically boxing. I really like boxing ones. This one made me think of another one that I think you'd like to review if you haven't seen it already. But we're gonna focus on this one. That's my take. That's like my summary take. What's your summary take on it?
Yeah, so I actually feel indifferent. I just did I watched it all the way through, and then prior to the podcast, kind of did like a little review, really quick, and a lot of the reasons I want to say I like the anime.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoyed it when I was watching it, but I don't love it.
And, I can 100% agree with that.
Yeah, and as I was kind of doing my little recap summary of the show, I definitely want to get into what I don't like about it and what I do like about it. Overall, solid anime. Love the action. Love the fights. Love the reason the main character is fighting. I think that was kind of what kept me invested into the show. But I didn't really like it in comparison to like other boxing shows.
Okay.
And just to, real quick, Hajime no Ippo is like the boxing show that like set the tone, and
everybody.
It just was like the anime displayed the grit and like the impact on the punches, and you felt the struggle when he's trying to get up, but it just could not compete, in my opinion, with Hajime no Ippo. Like, even the fighting style had similarities to what Ippo was doing, but it was just like...
Well, yeah, because Ippo's if I remember correctly, he's an in-fighter.
Yeah.
So he's all about taking the punishment.
Yeah.
You know what it's a stupid analogy or comparison, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But Megalobox just reminded me of Real Steel.
Yes! And that was another one. That's the movie, right?
Yeah, that's the movie.
That was so similar to Real Steel. I kind of felt... Well, okay, when did Real Steel come out before I say this?
Oh, bro.
Did it come out before 2018 or after?
Yeah.
Before 2018?
It came out before 2018. Let me look it up real quick while you're talking.
Okay, so if Real Steel came out before 2018, this anime, Megalobox, came out, I think, in 2018. But the original concept was like before the 90s. So now I'm thinking, okay, if you go based off of the manga, the OG manga, this came out first, Megalobox, the storyline, the plot. Then Real Steel literally copies this anime almost tit for tat. And then when they reanimated for 2018, it ain't better than Hajime no Ippo. So I'm like, what? So, what is this? But it was overhyped. And I don't want to say overhyped, but at the time of 2018, it was overhyped.
I think, and this could be a hot take, because I'm really not going and looking out every single anime that came out at the time of 2018, but I want to say this came out when a lot of, like, mid animes were out. So,
what do you mean by mid animes?
So, like, mid-tier. Just like, you watch it, but, and I'm not talking about, like, your ongoing ones. Like,
okay, yeah.
Like, I'm talking about, like, new season ones. So, like, this came out in a season of, like, ones. And like I said, I could be wrong, but I think that's why I watched it. because I'm like, oh, there's not really much going on.
Right.
Let me watch this.
Yeah.
And then I did enjoy it, but like like I have like I was saying before the show, like I have a love-hate relationship with the music because I really like the music in certain spots, especially like his theme. It's like, dun, dun,
he has an anthem.
Dun,
the music, like, okay, it hits.
His music is good.
Yeah.
But then there's like other times where I'm like, why do we need music here? Or like it just feels like input. So like way ahead, like when he's when him and Nanbu's his crooked coach. He like they're in this one fight and they're basically fighting, and the one kid that we're kind of jumping around with the anime because at the end of the day it's pretty cut and dry. It's a boxer working his way up to fight like a guy he made his rival who just completely worked him.
Yeah, and like, happens to be the best in the world.
Yeah, just so happens that he meets the best, whose name is Yuri, and he's Yuri kind of challenges him because he sees he's beneath him, and he's like, oh, so why don't you show me what real boxing is? And that one scene's actually really cool because when he says that, Yuri puts his set up and he does, and like time stops.
Almost like a Goku Vegeta moment.
Yeah, the rain actually, and this is the gamer side of me. It reminded me of when Dante and Virgil are fighting, and they're like literally cutting the raindrops like in a scene. That's what this reminded me of because like the raindrops stop and they're just staring at each other. And, like, you see Joe kind of get, like, hyped.
Yeah.
And then he calls her owner, Yukiko, like, it calls him. He's like, all right, he walks back. And he's like, wow, she's got you trained. What happens? Next day, Yuri shows up at the boxing ring and just works him. Just punches the crap out of him. And true MC, status, he gets up. After being worked, can't even stand normally. He's like, that all you got?
Right.
Really?
Like, come on,
let's
bro.
go again. And he's like, bro, I'm done with you. Like, if you want to fight me again, work your way up. Mm-hmm. Fully not expecting him to work his way up. And then, but, protagonist power. So, which is full effect through this anime. And that's why, like I said, like, I wanted to preface it by saying I did enjoy it, but, like, God, protagonist power and plot armor is so huge in this anime. So this Megalobox, just to kind of give you a rundown, it's a new version of boxing, which again made me think of Real Steel. Like instead of people boxing, it's now the robots, where individuals have enhancements on their body. So like they're basically, for lack of a better term, like robotic arms that are attached to your own.
Right.
And so they make your punching stronger, you hit harder, your defense is better. They can sometimes make you punch faster. It just kind of depends what you want with your
AI
your arms.
Robot arms.
If you want defense, then they're a little bit bulkier, but they're slower. You want power, again. Now, there was one person, I think his name's like the Bloody Lion or something. He was known for his agility and power, but it's mainly because he was a big dude. So, like, his arms weren't huge. I mean, they were because he's a big guy, but he was really known for that. But generally, there's a trade-off somewhere. Well, Joe, when you first meet him, his first name, nobody knows his name, so he's just called the Junk Dog when he fights. And he is tied with Nanbu, and they throw fights to make money. And Joe hates it. Nanbu's like, what else are you going to do?
Literally a Real Steel duplicate scenario right there. Literally coach forcing losses to make profit. And then sometimes he actually messes up. And then,
well, Real Steel, he was just too cocky. Like, and he got. He was
addicted to gambling.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the same as this coach.
Yeah. But like, he wasn't throwing fights. Like, but there are a lot of ties to Real Steel. Like every time I watch this anime, I just thought of Real Steel, which I love that movie. But Nanbu and him basically, like, he's like, I want to stop throwing fights. Nanbu's like, you're an idiot. Like, That's how we make money. You can't be a real fighter. You're not a citizen, blah, blah, blah. So what else are you going to do? But he fights with like this crappy arm system, and he really doesn't need it because in his small pond,
right,
he's a really good fighter. Like he has the brawling basics down with a little bit of boxing, because like he'll slip. His main thing is he's a counterer, so like he'll take some damage. And then when he sees you're going for the kill, he'll counter your punch and boom, take you out. Like, that's his thing. Right. Which later on in the anime, Nanbu gets him out of that. He's like, you need to stop looking for a counter all the time because you leave yourself wide open.
You may not get back up.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're following that. And even the one thing I did like about the anime is like, even for the art, like in the art for the show, you always see him in like the arms and stuff, and you're like, oh, okay. No, like this whole thing, he doesn't fight with it. Like that's the whole draw of it. That's the craziness of it.
Gearless Joe.
He becomes Gearless Joe, and so that's one thing that I did like. Is like, wait, like you thought this whole time this dude was gonna be like, oh, I'm fighting the big guys with my small armor. Like, no, he doesn't even have armor.
Right.
Like, he's naked. Like, my man is just going in as a basic human. Like,
and I think that's the only reason I kept watching.
Yeah, because
usually in like shonen or like regular animes, you're looking for the power up. You're looking for the progression. And I originally thought the progression was going to be he's going to win some fights, improve his armor, win some fights, improve his armor. And then when he gets up, it's going to be like, okay, he grinded from the mud to get this equipment so that he can face the best. But this cat up there says, no, I'm going off straight skill and grit and work my way to fight the best. Yeah. Now, that part is what entrenches me into the show and made it enjoyable.
Yeah, for sure. Man. And I think, and like I said, like it has really good scenes. So like the first scene where he becomes, even before he gets the name, but when he becomes Gearless Joe. So like they go, his bootlegged armor gets broken. And so like they go, like Nambu's like, I know a guy, we can go get you some armor. So he goes and it's slick. It's nice. It's his colors, because his colors are like beige and orange. And like the anime like basically like is like, that's it. That's what he's gonna get. And you're like, okay, like this looks sick.
Right.
And then so basically like these kids get into some trouble. Joe decides to help them. Well, he puts on those arms and he's like, yeah, with this I can defeat Yuri. And like he's fighting, and one of the thugs that basically was trying to hit the kids, well, now he's after Joe because Joe saved him. He's got these like giant mech arms, like ridiculously huge. They got like giant fans on the back. And Joe gets like punched, and he takes the hit with one of the arms, and so it like breaks. And then the other one, like he's trying to punch, it breaks. And then Nambu's like, yo, let's get out, because he already got the kids. And Joe turns around, and like he gets like this like thought process. He's like, no, I'm fighting. And right there, Nambu's like face lights up, and you see like this giant thug, because he's way bigger than Joe, but you know they animate it, so he looks like a giant. And you just hear Joe's theme song pop up, and like the armor just falls off, and it's just him just there, and you're like, yo, is he gonna do this? And then that's when the anime
chills
starts.
Already, and I already saw the show.
Yeah, right. So like it does give you that, like it gives you those little moments, and like you're like, yo, okay,
let's go,
I'm with this. And then you get into other moments which are all through the anime, where he's just getting punched. He's hugging them because he's getting tired, and they put him off. Yep. And you're like, where's the guy?
Yeah, that I fell in love with in the beginning.
That beat the mech dude, like,
right.
And then these people, like the most unrealistic part, I will say, art-wise, art style, and like even world building, this is kind of one of the more accurate worlds, in the sense like it's not crazy sci-fi. You could see this maybe happening. Like I don't know, in like a desert area, Arizona or something.
Yeah.
I mean, they got underground fighting there all the time. So like you could see that kind of happening there. And it's almost, it came out in 2018, but it has that old school art to it.
Definitely that 90s art.
Yeah. Like if you ever watch like Ninja Gaiden, or not Ninja Gaiden, Ninja Scroll or Afro Samurai, they all have that same kind of style.
Oh geez. If y'all watch Afro Samurai, let us know.
But like, I don't know, it has those glimmers that keeps you going. But then there's a lot of and in those glimmers the animation's really good, and like the punch is good, and the way he slips is good. But then like when it's just a normal fight, like they're both basically like not moving their feet, and they're just kind of like smacking each other on the gloves, and you're just like, this is not, no, like what are you doing? And then he's always getting rocked, and again he has no armor, like he has no arms. So these people are punching him
with the AI
stronger than they should be punching him, and he just gets up every time.
Just eating them.
Like, my man, he has internal bleeding. He's got all of his ribs broken. There's no way. Like, you know who he was? He's the OG Tanjiro in Demon Slayer. He always says it. He's always like, oh, my ribs are fractured. My lungs pierced. But I'm gonna still do this water breathing whirlpool on you, though. Like, it's like, didn't you just say like 3 of your ribs are cracked? How are you even? You have a punctured lung. How are you breathing?
Definitely the main character power
like,
up for sure.
He's the OG Tanjiro. I got it. But like, I don't know. Like, and then again, the music, his anthem's really good. And then they have like kind of in the background of scenes, you'll have like almost like old school kind of Japanese like rap in the back, which sounds kind of cool. It's nice. But then again,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, but then again, the one kid that Joe actually ended up saving, who joins their team, Sachio. There's a scene where like he's doing some shadow boxing, and like the music is like this loud Japanese rap. I'm like, why is this here? Like, why? I don't need this. This doesn't make sense to me. So
now I'm going to definitely rewatch and pay attention to the music, because you definitely made that point of they kind of forced some of the music.
Yeah, like, for me. Well, because I mean, I a lot. Obviously, you guys don't know because I've never mentioned it, but like I have a music background. Like I used to play different instruments and piano and stuff. So music. I
didn't know that.
Yeah, okay. So music is a big thing for me. Like that's something that I focus on a lot of times, because if it sometimes can be a really big distractor, or sometimes music builds a scene. So an anime that I want us to review later on, but Arcane on Netflix, the League of Legends one. The music, oh my gosh, pivotal. The music makes that show. Like, I mean, granted, it's good, but
it's great.
The music is just, oh my gosh.
The music literally like makes you feel like you're in that world. But we're not gonna go into Arcane because
we're sitting here just giving free stuff all the time. But basically, I mean, you know what's going to happen in this anime just from the first episode. You just want to see the journey, because he's the main character, and he already met his rival first episode. You know they're going to fight.
Naruto Sasuke moment.
Yeah. And like most of the fights, there are different little, again, gems in the fight that you see where Joe, like, he evolves or whatever, or he learns something, or like they'll give something on the background, like he's getting worked, and then now all of a sudden him being worked is not him getting beaten. Oh, he's a hot iron right now, and every hit that he gets is molding him. And you're like, oh, okay, I'm back in it. And then he pulls out this BS and like one shot punches somebody and they're down, and you're like, you have been getting punched this whole time. They have no punches on them. you hit them once and they're down.
Right. Like,
this is not real.
What is that? So it's, in the video game where it's like almost like a recoil.
Yeah.
They like build up the damage and then they can literally give the damage like 10 times tenfold back at the person.
Yeah.
That's what it kind of reminds me of.
But man's a shock absorber. He's
right.
like, okay, here you go. Like,
and I think that's definitely one of the things I did not like about the show. It's so weird because it has great moments, but then it has like WTF moments, and you just are just watching it like, come on now, are y'all serious? And then sometimes it's a short anime, so
it's what 13 episodes.
Yeah, 13, and it kind of felt like they were putting little filler scenes in the 13 episode series.
I could see that.
So I'm like, I
because
don't
they give backstories to people that you don't really care about or need to know. Yeah. Like you meet Nanbu's old student that he coached. I think his name's like Akagaki or whatever. I just thought of that because you were talking about filler, and then like basically a whole episode is talking about his backstory. Like I don't care.
He didn't help Joe.
I mean, he technically did. Like so Joe fights him, is getting worked, and then he starts like quoting Nanbu's like keep it flat 50-50, and Akaki's like be quiet, yada yada yada, and then he beats him. And then later on when he's training for the Yuri fight, he comes back and he's his sparring partner. Okay. But I didn't need a whole episode on his backstory. Like, okay, he's your old student. There's beef.
It definitely could have been sped up as old student. You need a sparring partner to prepare for the Yuri fight. What's his name? Nanbu? Nanbu calls in his old fighter to be a practice fighter and prepares Joe for the championship fight. Could have just been that simple as that.
But what cracks me up, because this is probably going to be one of our shorter episodes. Because again, it's pretty easy to know what's happening in this.
Yeah.
The one thing that I didn't like is like you had these fillers, and then the last episode just felt like it was rushed to me, which is the penultimate fight. It's him and Yuri,
right?
And the first view of that fight you get, they're already in round 4, and you're like, what? Why? And then they're just fighting. Oh, round 8. Like, oh, he's getting worked the whole time, and Yuri's just sitting there chilling. And then Joe's just over there. But he's still in it somehow. You know? That makes sense.
MC power up.
And then like they're in round 13. And then finally, like, here the part that cracks me up the most is they're fighting. They literally have a Naruto and Sasuke moment. Like, he goes, Yuri! And he goes, Joe! And they, like, punch each other. And then, literally, like, they're trading blows. And Yuri cold cocks him in the chin. You see the
mouthpiece.
The mouthpiece fly out. He looks dazed, and you're like, oh, time stops again. Jury. Joe and Yuri are standing there looking at each other, and Yuri's like, man, we're so lucky to like have met each other or whatever. And then time comes back to real time, and Joe's just standing there. I'm like, you literally just got cold cocked. How are you standing still now, smiling?
Right. Now
you should be down.
I think that part was because they were trying to demonstrate that Yuri wasn't the villain or the enemy. And they both have the common love for the sport. Which is relatable, and I understand that. But when it comes to what I want to see, I'd rather see more fighting and actual slips and dips and counters and
a lot of that wasn't like the reason that I don't like the last episode so much is the first episode when they first meet. Joe's like, all the megaloboxing is guys beating each other, and Yuri's like, no, that's not what it is. Fast forward to the last episode, they're literally just punching the snot out of each other. Like, there's no slips, there's no nothing. They're just punching each other, seeing who goes down first. And then it ends, like, first of all, you don't see the end of the fight, but you see the stereotypical pose. Like, they both come at each other with one punch, and they punch each other in the chin. What boxer allows you to do that, man? Like, slip it. Like, do, like...
Yeah, it's a lot of things that you don't, that one, I don't want to say you, but one cannot like about the show.
Yeah.
Which are my main focuses of why I was indifferent when I gave my, initial opinion. But, man... It has some great moments, and then it has some moments where you just question it.
Yeah,
but
but I mean, there's not really much more to talk about, honestly. Right. I mean, we could nitpick a lot of different things, or like they do some foreshadowing, and I think they tried to do a little bit more than what was needed. I think if they just stayed to this is a boxing anime. Right. I think it would have been a little bit better because there was like some family stuff going on and all this, like with the kid. And I don't think any of that stuff was needed. I will say one of my favorite scenes, though. One of my favorite scenes is Nanbu when he kind of has his redemption arc, like where he's like, you know what, Joe, you're supposed to throw this fight because he was supposed to throw like the first Megalobox fight because that's what the mafia boss told him. He's like, don't do it. Fight for yourself. And he does, and the mafia boss is like, you're an idiot. Like, you've basically killed all of you now. And Nanbu already didn't have an eye. Like, he has an eye patch.
Lost an eye gambling in these fights.
And he literally takes a fork or a knife or whatever and plucks out his own other eye. And the mob boss, Joe and the kid run in. Joe's like, you did this to him? You did that? And he was like, he did that himself, and he walks out, and the mafia boss says, the guy who wanted to see the kid dance in the arena the most just took his own ability to do so. And I really liked that scene because you could see that the mafia guy had respect for him right there, too. So, like I said, there's gems in there.
Yes, there are gems.
There's a lot of coal.
now, so based off of that, and if you can kind of remember 2018, which it's pretty much a blur for me.
Anything behind 2020, I'm kind of lost.
I feel you. But if you could just jog your memory, in 2018, did you feel like it should have been a #1 show on Crunchyroll for the year of 2018? Because it was literally ranked #1.
Really?
Now,
so that goes back to my point. There must have been nothing good that came out in 2018.
So if you take out anything that had ongoing or a additional season, if you take those anime out for 2018 on Crunchyroll, and y'all can fact check me because I'm just going off of what I can barely remember. On Crunchyroll, it was the #1 show that was not ongoing and did not have a additional season. I still do not think it should have held that #1 spot unless it literally was nothing else out during that time.
Wait. If this is right, because my internet is acting up right now, Violet Evergarden came out in 2018. That should have blown this out the water. We will review Violet Evergarden. Violet Evergarden is one of my favorite anime ever.
Right, cool.
But there's no way Joe is better than Violet Evergarden.
Yeah, at the time.
But anyway, we'll get. Speaking about its rating, we're going to give our rating for it. So I will let you go first since it was your choice for the week.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
It's so weird because if you've seen or listened to the previous podcast, I'm usually all for action anime, fighting anime, and I usually would give it a 10. But because I don't know if it's because of the length of it that it just did not fulfill that 10-9 measurement, I'm gonna have to give it like a 7.5, just because it had quality gems. But then you have those WTF moments where it's like, let me take some points off. I definitely wish they would have, I guess, sped up, not rushing, but sped up the growth in Gearless Joe, in the sense of making it more focused on him instead of the filler episodes or the episodes where, for prime example, if they took out the filler part and replaced it with the actual in-game fights and rounds to complete the match, that would have been 10 times better than all the additional stuff. So yeah. I'm gonna give it a 7.5. So what do you think, CJ?
See, now that's funny because I thought you were gonna be higher. I knew you weren't gonna be like a 10, but I was thinking like 8.5. I have to give this a 7. Mainly because I went and watched it again. I mean, I didn't fully watch every episode. Like, I kind of flew through it because I remembered a lot of it. But right. There were some scenes I was like, which episode does this happen in? Yada, yada, yada. And I would recommend it to someone, especially if they're into boxing ones. Because there are some really, again, gem moments in it. But is it like something I'm going to recommend to somebody and say, you have to watch this? No. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, you're looking for like some boxing anime? All right, here's this one. Here's Levius. Here's another one.
Hajime no Ippo.
Yeah. I personally just not a fan of Hajime no Ippo. But
please, in the comments below, if you like boxing, if you had to choose an anime, Hajime no Ippo, I need y'all to either request it so CJ can watch it and we can review it, or just tell me how y'all feel, because Hajime Ippo was quality.
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of fans. But yeah, no, I'd have to give it a 7. But yeah, I mean, if you have any disagreements with us, like if you think it's worth higher than that, explain it to us.
Yeah, please.
That's fine with it. Our Twitter is XAnimeAnonymous. And our Instagram is XAnimeAnonymousX. So I'm always in there. I'm generally more on the Instagram than Twitter, but I still do check the Twitter. So DM us on either one. I will gladly talk to you about it. And then again, we're still working on the Discord, but once I fully finish that, that's going to be the hub for everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, for 100%, let me know what you think about Megalobox. If you think it's better, if you think it's worse, totally open to it. That's the whole point of this, is getting everybody's opinions.
Right.
And then now our next week's, I already chose it, and I haven't told Ace because I'm wondering if you've seen it yet or not. But have you ever watched Another?
No. All
right. So Another. That's the episode for next week. It's 12 episodes.
All right.
And the genre, just the quick genre, just to give it to you, or I'll give you 2. School life, horror.
Okay. I can do that.
Yeah. So I really like it, and it's another one that I think was kind of slept on when it came out.
Because I'm a big anime fan. Like I watch a lot of anime. But
yeah, so that's a hot take. Me and my buddy Savage, which I'll see if any time we might get like a special guest, like from different friends of ours, to get on here. But between him and I, we have watched way too many anime. Like, it's ridiculous. So there's a lot of these slept on ones that we have watched. People are like, I don't even remember that. And I'm like, it's not surprising to me. But before we go,
yes,
we are gonna talk about our little crypto corner with Ace. So if you're not into that, 100% catch us next week when we review Another. But if you are into it, I'm a newbie with crypto, and so we're kind of trying to talk about what are the best little starting kind of notes that Ace can give us. So last week he kind of went in depth on like what he does, but now we're going to kind of bring it back. So for instance, like I'll give you one question, and then you can tell your story from this weekend that you told me today, which was funny. Shoot. But just off rip, like first things first, if I was interested in crypto, because I mean it's huge. I mean you can go on Instagram, Google, anything, you'll hear crypto. I mean, what's their name? Just changed their stadium to deal with something.
Oh
like
yeah,
crypto.
Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah. So
it's now the crypto.com arena.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, it's obviously there. It's going to be there for a while.
Yeah. Crypto's not going anywhere, guys.
So if outside of you, because a lot of people want to do their own research and then bring it maybe to you, right. Where would I start, or what would be good avenues for me to research crypto for myself?
So that's a good question. So I'm going to give two responses. The first one is going to be what I would recommend now for anyone that is trying to get started. And then I'm going to explain how I got started into it.
Okay.
So first, to get started into crypto, I would recommend downloading the Coinbase app. In this app, the user interface is super easy. You do the KYC, know your customer, so license, social, banking information, address, stuff like that. Once that's done, I think it's a less than 3 minute, 2 minute process. Real easy, real convenient. Then I would literally do all of the Coinbase study apps. So these apps are like 2 minutes long, but they pay you like $3 in crypto every time you complete them. So you're earning while learning.
Interesting.
Exactly. And then they also have a feature where they have a Coinbase debit card, which allows you to actually spend your crypto if need be. That is a taxable event if you are spending crypto. But if you are spending the crypto USDC, which is
you throwing these names out.
Hey, y'all gotta learn. If I don't expose it to y'all not gonna learn. If you spend, as of today's date, USDC, it is not a taxable event. It's pretty much a digital dollar. It's not gonna fluctuate. That can give you exposure into the game, and when you are using that card, you can earn crypto back, almost like a credit card rewards. Okay. So you have plenty of options like Ethereum, Bitcoin, XLM, and y'all can look at it. It's a whole list of crypto that you can get back.
So, but starting off with that and like doing those learning kind of things they have. Okay.
Learn Coinbase, set it up. It's free to set up. They have a level 2 after that, which is their Coinbase exchange, which is a little bit more difficult, but it's just lower fees. So Coinbase is the easy way. Get started, get your footing, then jump over to their second app, which is the Coinbase Pro app. And that's when you start kind of figuring out, okay, I can buy this. I can wait 5-7 days, but I have a significantly lower transaction fee. I would just start with that. I don't want to bombard y'all with too much information. But yeah, just start with Coinbase. And then the second thing was how I got started. Pretty much I was exposed to Bitcoin, I want to say 2010, 2012 was when I first heard about it. Had no idea about the dark web or the Silk Road or anything about that. Had no idea. Heard about Bitcoin, kept it moving. I didn't know what it was. 2013, Coinbase came out. Literally, they were smacking you in the face with like, buy Bitcoin.
They still are.
I tried to get into it. I think I put in and I understand my mistake now, but at the time I put in only like $100 in Bitcoin. Everybody was talking about it. All the commercials are blaring.
Yep.
That thing went up something crazy. I don't even remember the amount, but I know it went up. I'm thinking I'm about to be rich. that thing dropped so fast down. I was like, oh, this is not for me. Lost that whole $100. I think it went down to like $10 or something. I was like, give my $10 out and buy myself some lunch or something. So that was my first experience with crypto. Then after that, I pretty much just watched to see what happens with Bitcoin, try to learn as I go. Fell off a little bit, but was just watching, trying to learn. And then recently, probably like 2-3 years ago, that's when I started learning what crypto was, got back into Bitcoin, got back into Ethereum, started listening to Kathy Wood. You guys can Google her. She's kind of like an expert in the crypto game right now. And her opinion back in 2013 was accurate to the point where now when she's talking, I'm listening with all ears open. So the numbers that she's projecting may sound extreme, but just kind of enjoy the ride right now. And then, learned how to trade. Just try to do some paper trading, which is not real money. Got my skills up to par and have been doing pretty successful so far. This is not taxable advice or financial advice. This is just my experience and financial opinion. So not telling you to buy or sell anything, but definitely get exposure to it. This is something that exists and something that you should learn now before you have such a far behind learning curve that you just realize you just missed out on so many opportunities. And then I want to talk about this weekend. So I have had a very successful year in crypto, but this past weekend was not so successful. So I think most of my success comes from when the crypto market is in a specific trend where it's either going up, which is a bull market, or going down in a bear market. So this past weekend, the market is actually going sideways, which is what we call a consolidation period or accumulation zone sometimes. But I was trying to cook and make a trade at the same time, and I got greedy, was trying to rush, and also did not adjust my stop loss. So I pretty much lost like 20% on the trade, not the entire account. You never should trade your entire account, but lost like 20%, then had to literally do another smaller trade and work that thing back up to about half of what I lost. So it ended up being I think I saved maybe like 70% of the initial trade, but I lost like 60% off that one wrong trade that I was trying to be rushing greedy. So that was my weekend. It hurt like a mother effer, but we win some and we lose some. This is my first loss of the 2022 year, and I'm not giving up. I'm going to literally keep going for 4 years, and if y'all stay tuned, by 2026, this podcast should be a radio station or something crazy. So, but yeah, just stay motivated. Just keep learning. The best way to learn is to stay involved. And if you have any questions in the Discord when that comes, in Instagram, in Twitter, hit me up. Hit up CJ. And yeah, see y'all next time.
Yep, so I've been CJ, and this is Ace, and we'll catch you next AA meeting.